name is Tessa Alexander, and today I'd like to talk to you about creating a reproducible and more secure Python application. My background is primarily web development, and I've been working with open source and Python technologies for over 10 years. I'm currently working at the University of Bristol in a small development team dedicated to developing research-related applications. This talk is aimed at beginner to intermediate level Python developers, now if that's not you, and who want to publish and share their, or promote the use of their application. I want to give you an insight into how you can freeze your application's dependencies while staying up to date. Also introduce some tools to enhance and deploy your application. And then I'd like to cover reproducing your application and environment in a shareable way. Okay, I imagine most of you have already got some experience using pip to install Python packages. For those of you that don't, pip allows you to install third-party code to use within your application. You can use it to install additional packages into your environment, your Python environment. So by default, pip will install packages from the Python package industry. PyPy, the Python package index, and eggs and wheels are standard Python packages formats. So for instance, if you do pip install pillow, you'll get the latest version of Pillow, the Python image library, into use for your application. Over time, your list of dependencies may grow. Luckily, pip provides an easy way to export a list of your application's dependencies into a plain text file, known as a freeze file. It's good practice to store an up-to-date freeze file alongside your application code under some kind of source control, Git, or Mercurial. So the next time you or a colleague needs to work on your application, all you need to do is, in one simple command, reinstall all your application's dependencies as such. Pip install -r your requirements file, and you're back in business. By default, pip freeze will output a list of your eggs and their version numbers. In later versions of pip, you can further verify your installation by annotating this freeze file with hashes, the expected hash for each egg. Installation will fail if that hash doesn't match the egg that you're installing. The current recommendation is to use at least SHA-256, but it does support up to SHA-512 algorithm for creating your hashes. If you're further interested in securing your pip installation and you didn't catch Aaron Bassett's talk yesterday, you might want to catch up on that one as well, because she's a good speaker as well. Okay, great. Now you have a way to track and install your project's dependencies. But what if you're working on more than one Python application at the same time? Or you need to deploy your application into a shared hosting environment? This could lead to a dependency hell. A conflict in packages, version requirements could break yours or an existing application. Or in a shared hosting environment, this could lead to an inability to install your third-party eggs, as you don't possess permissions to install system-wide. Okay, don't despair. virtualenv is here to help you, and you can use it to create isolated Python environments for each of your projects in a directory of your choosing. You can even specify the version of Python you're going to use in that localized environment, as well as installing your localized eggs for your application. virtualenv is very flexible, so you can use a blend of system install packages as well as the ones that just are in your virtual environment. Right. You've locked down dependencies, you've even isolated your requirements from your applications. Fantastic, your work here is done. Well, not quite. To keep your application secure, you need to keep abreast of security releases for the third-party libraries that you're using. There's various services out there to help you do this. I personally have experience using Requires.io. It's free to use for public code repositories. This includes both on GitHub and Bitbucket. Payment is required if you've got like a private repository, maybe in your company, and the enterprise level is like $15 a month, so it's pretty cheap, I'd say. So requires.io can consume your requirements in various formats. This includes your freeze file and generate a report detailing the status of your application's eggs. To stay up to date, you can configure email alerts for out-of-date eggs or just the security releases. And additional features like for GitHub repositories, it can actually issue a pull request to merge in an up-to-date version of your requirements file. And for additional bragging rights, requires.io does provide badges that you might want to sport on your README page for your project, and you always want to have an up-to-date badge. Okay. You ever made a small change to some code, and you've broken something seemingly unrelated in your application? Or you've been working in a team and experienced that, oh, it works for me, but not for anyone else because you've forgotten to check in one file in your last check-in. Well, whilst testing development and continuous integration won't stop you making mistakes, it might well help tell you that you've made one and stop that mistake getting into production. Even one test is a test worth having. You know, it could be, does my application build without error? Even that would allow you to upgrade your third-party eggs with a lot more confidence. But seriously, write more than one test. Travis CI is software as a service that allows you to leverage industry-standard tools for even the smallest project. This service is free to the open source community. Travis CI provides the infrastructure to run the tests you've written in your Python application with every commit to your code repository. Travis CI is configured with using YAML, like a really simple example there for a Python application that's on screen. And you commit it alongside your application code. Travis even supports testing your application on multiple versions of Python, so that's quite helpful. Okay. Fabric is a Python 2 library. It makes it easier to work on the command line and run commands on remote hosts using SSH. There's a Fabric free fork that does support 2.7 and 3.4. Not that I've got personal use for that, but mostly I've used the Fabric library itself, the original one. In a bid to automate all things, I've used Fabric as like a lightweight system configuration and deployment tool. Typically, Fabric functions are defined in a single file. Basically, it's a way to help collate together random little bash scripts you can have scattered around the place and contains these with discrete Python functions, which you should also store under source control. An example use case might be backing up your production database. Maybe you need to dump it to the file system, then copy it to a remote host, or maybe you're running a Django application and you want to update the code, so you've got to tie together pulling down the code from Git, running a management command to collect your static files, maybe you copy them to another server, and then you want to restart the web server only if all those things go well. So it's just handy. And as I've learned at the conference, Chopsticks is like a new kid on the block, and one to keep an eye on. Daniel Post talked about this on Friday, if you want to hear more about that. If you're interested in full-scale configuration management tools written in Python, you might want to look at Ansible, Salt, other industry standard tools out there that are in Python like Puppet or Chef might better suit you. I want to briefly mention another tool written in Python, actually, that might be of interest more to researchers or scientists. Reprozip captures the steps required to reproduce an experiment, including all the auxiliary commands you might call, the environment settings. Used in conjunction with something like Vagrant for virtual machines or Docker for containers, it provides a reproducible and portable environment that can be shared with others, so your experiment can be run on another machine or even another operating system. So Reprozip can provide wider system and workflow replication, which might be essential to you if you're trying to publish your experiment. I won't go into Docker, I've got a lot more experience with Vagrant VMs. So Vagrant ultimately gives you virtual machines at your fingertips. Once you've installed Vagrant on your laptop or a desktop PC, alongside something like VirtualBox, you're only a config file away from having the VM of your choosing. Configuring Vagrant is really straightforward, and that will give you a CentOS box. That little snippet there, you know, it's awesome. And it allows you to specify your dependencies from the operating system up. You can use bash scripts or full-on configuration management tools to provision your boxes. So where I've got that echo line, that could be install your web server, something like that. Yeah. So useful steps, reproducible useful steps for your environment. As you can see, it's a plain text file. It does use Ruby syntax, no hissing or moving there. And you can, so it makes it easy to version control your environment as well. You know, you record this as well, and all your iterations. It's also helpful because it can help you make sure your development environment matches your production environment. I mean, most people probably wouldn't choose CentOS 7, but if that's where your application is going to end up running, you might want to just start developing like that. Maybe you choose Ubuntu, whatever you're more comfortable with, if it doesn't matter for you. And that certainly helps iron out any nasty surprises you might have on demo or sort of go live day. That bit where SE Linux bites you. Yeah, just get rid of those problems straight away. And another great use of Vagrant is to model sort of like multi-server applications, or if you need to manage a cluster of things, and you can just try that out yourself without smashing up infrastructure for your colleagues. Okay, thanks for listening to this long-time listener, first-time speaker. In this talk, I give you a brief introduction into how you freeze your application's dependencies, isolate your Python environment, stay up to date, make use of continuous integration to run your tests, deploy your application, reproduce your application, and make use of virtual machines. If you've got any questions, you can message me at AssetWeb or catch me later in the conference. I'm going to make the slides available online, and there's a bunch of other links that go with each slide. So, thanks for listening.
Thank you. Any questions?
I was very interested in the reprozip. One problem I've got is that I need to distribute. So a problem I've got is I have an app, but I need to also deliver the whole Python environment because I'm on a system that has no internet access.
Okay.
So one of the problems we found was, well, okay, so we'll download Python source and build it, but is there a way that you can distribute your entire application, including the Python runtime?
Possibly
Yes.
that's something
Yes, on all OSs.
Okay.
Hi, Run.
That's your answer there.
long question.
Love this
PyConUK, there's various Linux
So
scripts.
package all the
There's loads of
runtime.
variations on it. It's a sole problem, it has been for about 2 decades.
Good.
Run.
Thank you very much.
I love the internet, sorry.
So my question was about Travis CI, which
Yeah.
I really like. But
It is.
is there an equivalent product for GitLab when you're developing internally? They'll tend to GitLab, is it now?
Certainly, okay. In my, where I'm working right now, we use Jenkins, and there are other sort of like, you can install yourself standalone CI servers to do this. I mean, this is just kind of handy because if you don't have a bunch of servers yourself, it's literally there for you for free, just waiting for you to use that. But yeah, certainly Jenkins and other things like that.
We're actually using GitLab CI at my work. It's built in.
Okay.
Oh, turns out.
It's not great.
Any questions?
We're on version 8.
Okay, thank you very much, Tessa.
Thanks.